It's Managers Week, powered by Citrix, and Scott Servais joins us on MLB Now. Scott, thank you so much for joining us. And what is an offseason like for Scott Servais? How much more do you pay attention to your phone than some of the other managers along Major League Baseball based off all of the activity that you always have?
Appreciate you guys having me on. But yeah, you need to stay on top of it. Certainly, we've been very active the last few years. It's slowed down a little bit here recently. And that's an exciting thing for us is we've got a nice core of young players starting to come together. And they're learned a ton last year, even in a shortened season. But we got a lot to look forward to here.
Scott, Joel Sherman here. I noticed that you said you're going to a six-man rotation next year. Can you take us through that thinking? And do you think, obviously, part of it is how few innings everybody pitched in 2020, both in the majors and no minors. But do you think there's any chance that it also could be something that could work moving forward, even in a full season?
We're going to give it a shot. We did it all year last year. And we talked about it coming out of, kind of the break we had with the shutdown of baseball and coming through summer camp. And we thought it was really going to be beneficial. We had so many young pitchers and giving them that extra day, along with Yusei Kikuchi, who was used to pitching on that type of schedule coming from Japan. And we really saw the benefits of it. These guys' stuff was more consistent, having that extra day, but with the young group, really able to have a good work day in between starts. So they're in the bullpen with our pitching coaches, working on pitch shaping and location and things like that. Really liked what we saw. Where its challenges lie is, these guys got to go a little bit deeper in the game because it gives you one less guy in the bullpen most times. So, you have to balance that best we can. But I'm really excited about it. The stuff definitely played up for our guys by having that extra day.
Back to the original point our host Scott Brown was making for keeping your phone on. The Rafael Montero trade, Scott, 111th of Jerry DiPoto's tenure, and it's all with you as the manager. I mean, what's that like for you when you realize no matter what, there's going to be a significant amount of roster turnover?
Yeah, we knew a couple years ago in 2019 it was a transitional year for us. We traded a lot of really good players away at the end of 18 and knew that we were going to kind of go in a step back or rebuild mode. So in doing that, you kind of know it was coming. It's just one of those things is we're trying to get things right here in Seattle and get back to the playoffs. It was going to take some time. Like I said earlier, you just keep your eye on it. The communication between Jerry and I is very good. I'm kind of always in the loop on where we're headed and what we're looking at. And, the latest acquisition of Montero really helps our bullpen. I'm excited to have him join us.
Scott, among those trades, maybe one of the biggest, and I hope Met fans are covering their ears right now, it was the one with the Mets that brought Jerry Kelenic, who's not only maybe your best prospect, but one of the best in baseball. I wonder if you could give us some kind of timeline and also how much more difficult it is to create a timeline when he was in the alternate site, but he didn't have a minor league season for you to base something on for when he's ready.
That's a great question, Joel. So many players around baseball affected in their development. We only got 60 games in the big leagues, but really no games at all at the minor league level. So we have so many young prospects coming, and Jared Kelenic, Julio Rodriguez, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, guys that didn't get to play at all last year. So trying to figure out what their timeline is, it's a challenge. It really is. Hopefully we go through a normal 162-game season, but understanding that those players are probably going to start in the minor leagues, and they'll join us at some point when they're ready. But it does make it challenging, not just for us, but everybody in baseball.
Scott, and I want to go back to the shutdown quarantine time because this is the show for the thinking fan. And sometimes players will say, hey, playing a video game like MLB The Show really helped me. I heard you in an interview talking about simulated games with your coaching staff. I didn't want to let that one slip past anyone because it was a quiet time. People were probably paying attention to other things. But I heard that in an interview, and I said, one day I've got to ask him to dig deeper on that storyline here on MLB Now. So what can you tell us from what you learned during the shutdown with your coaching staff?
Well, I commend you for digging deep because it is something that we did do. We had some downtime. One of the reasons that I was really excited about doing it is we had a new pitching coach, and a lot of coaches on our staff are very young. But first time pitching coach at the big league level, I thought it would be great to get on Zoom calls and actually go through simulated games with real players from other teams. And as the game is going through, it was all about managing our bullpen and going through process there and making sure everybody understands, the verbiage that we're using, kind of how I'm thinking as we go through a game. But we would have 10 to 12 people on those calls, doing them 3-4 times a week. And it wasn't so much about how we were winning, we were using the right guys or whatnot. It was all about our process. And we learned a lot about it going through it because there was nothing else to do. and just getting everybody to lock in about an hour, hour and a half, like I said, about 3 times a week really helped us. So when the season started, it's like we'd already played a bunch of games, and not so much, on the field, but in our head. And something that we did get a lot of benefit out of it. I don't know if we're going to do it going forward again, but it got the ball rolling with a couple of young coaches that didn't have much major league experience.
I love it. It's an extension of analytics. Just strong thumbs, play a bunch of video games, we'll be good to go. You mentioned, Scott, one of those great prospects, Julio Rodriguez. I think there's a lot of talk about Kelenic for good reason because he was acquired in that Mets trade. But Rodriguez, I believe, is on the cover of the 2021 Baseball America. What can you tell us about him and what his upside is?
Oh, he's got huge ceiling. He really is. He's an electric personality. He's got all the tools you're looking for. Big power. The ball jumps off his bat. I got an opportunity to see him play a little bit in our instructional league at the end of October, and he's getting better, as he should. He's a young player. I think the thing that stands out with Julio is he grasped the English language really early on when he got over here to the States. So his ability to communicate and connect with teammates from everywhere. This guy just loves to play baseball. He's always got a smile on his face, and he's got the talent to back it up. Again, timeline. He's a little bit a ways away from being ready to join us at the big league level, but he's a really exciting player.
Scott, you used the term timeline. I'm wondering about it for your team. I know you said earlier in this interview you want to build it right, but I wonder if comparison matters. Houston has been the dominant team in the division, but no Garrett Cole last year. There'll be no Verlander this year, probably no George Springer or Michael Brantley. Oakland always seems to figure things out, but probably without Marcus Semien and Liam Hendricks. The Rangers are in a rebuild. The Angels have a new GM. Do you see an opportunity here to move up in this division? And as the manager, do you say to the GM, who is an active GM often, hey, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to throw a brick on the gas pedal and try to go a little faster here because maybe there's opportunity?
No doubt. I think our division is changing, like all divisions are. But, Houston has dominated the division. Oakland is always up there. They're tough. They still got the guys in the corners, Chapman and Olsen. The Rangers, the Angels have the best player in the game. So very competitive. And I do think, as we go through this process, it's really important to be disciplined. I think you can really screw it up if you try to jump ahead when you're not quite ready. And so the timing of what we're doing, it's constant conversations. And we talk about, the 24-month plan. There's a 24-hour plan. There's a 24-month plan. Managers tend to get on the 24-hour plan. That's why I'm often brought in the loop on the 24-month plan. And so I think the communication is really, really good and important that we understand where we're at, but we need to stay disciplined. There's a time, and when the time is right, not just Jerry, but our ownership group, they'll step on the gas. I don't need to tell anybody to do that.
Scott, we really enjoyed the conversation. Have a great holiday. We'll talk to you in 2021.
Thanks, guys. Take care, and thanks for having me on.